In this tutorial, we're going to take a look at how to create a sloped roof, calculate its volume, and also creating a floor and calculating its volume using the extend to core. So we're going to start by just clicking on this roof and hitting the delete key to delete it. And we're going to create a floor in this upstairs little tiny square region here first. So let's go into second floor. And you can see that we have this boundary walls here already. I want to point something out on these. So I'm going to click on this wall and click Edit Type. I want you to see that this structure has a core boundary of just concrete masonry units, but it also has drywall or gypsum wallboard on the outside of the core boundary that is set to a 1/2 inch thickness. So if we want to create a floor in here, but we want it to go sort of through that drywall as if the floor were laid and the drywall were laid on top of it, then we have an option to be able to do that. So I'm going to click Architecture Floor. And the default is extend into wall core, and that is what we want. So that's going to allow the floor to go past the drywall all the way into the concrete masonry unit. And that's going to be really important for an accurate measure of volume of this floor. So we have it pre-selected to boundary line. I'm going to click Pick Walls, which is also pre-selected. And I want my floor to Centaurus tile floor. And I'm just going to select the inside edge of each of these. And I'm going to click the check mark. And right now, if I go to View and I choose Thin Lines, and I'm going to hit the Tab key so that we can find the actual floor itself. There we go. I've selected the floor. You can see that the floor is actually inside each of these walls by that 1/2 inch. So that's how we know that it extended it into the core level. So it really only moved it in a 1/2 inch because that's the thickness of the drywall, but that is going to give us an accurate measure of volume. And if we look over here on the far left-hand side, this is where we get perimeter area volume, all of these, all of this information here. And you can see it's 211.88 cubic feet thick. If I were to click and delete this, and I'm just going to redo that really quick, set to floor, and we're not going to extend it into the core. And now if I create these, instead of 211.88, then you can see my volume is 210.39. It's slightly smaller because it's stopping on the edge of that drywall. So just make sure that you have it set to the core, and we should be in good shape. I'm going to just leave that off for now, and let's take a look at the roof aspect. So we're going to take a look at the roof. We're going to go first to the north elevation, and just to review the heights of these. So my roof level is set to 24 feet. You can see that it is below this wall. So when we create our slope roof, it's going to look a little odd, but that's okay. So we're going to create this on the roof level. And per our design constraints, we click roof, and we want this to be set to wood rafter 8-inch with a 2-foot overhang and the slope of 812 on this top edge and bottom edge. So if I hover over this, you can see I want the slope to be, the overhang to be on the outside. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to change this to 8. Now remember, you still need to be in the base level of roof and the floor plan of roof to make this work correctly. And I'm going to just click, so that will select that one. I'm going to choose this bottom one and set that one to 8 and click outside of that. Now I'm going to uncheck define slope, so I can do this edge and I can do this edge. You see, it doesn't show up because there's no wall here, but I do have a short wall right here. But my problem is these aren't connected. So the other tool you need to make sure that you know how to use is this trim extend to corner. So if I select this one, you can see that it will take these lines and it will draw them. If I select this line and this line, it connects those together. I'm going to select this line and the top one, and you can see it draws in and finishes that for me. So now that I have that, I'm going to hit the green check. Should have everything I need. And we do not need to attach it, so I'm going to say no. And then if I go to View and 3D, you can see we have this really odd shaped roof for a school, which is why we don't have slope roofs on big commercial buildings. But I want to select the roof so I can double check the volume. And I can see that my volume is in fact 7,558.64 cubic feet. So if you're looking for that information, it also gives you area, which is actually probably more useful for a roof. If you're looking at areas, so you know how much material to purchase, that's how we find that information. So hopefully that helps with creating a sloped roof and using the trim extend to corner tool and creating floors and extending it into the core of those floors.